All right, Devils, how we doing? Sam here with you. It's Friday. It's the 12th of July here. Now we're going to do a quick Bitcoin update here. I'll try and make it as quick as I can. There is some complexity here. Now, so we're going to release this on YouTube. It's been a few weeks since we released something over there for our subscribers. Now, that's partly a function of the fact that we've asked for a certain number of retweets before we release them. Now, of course, members we'll get them multiple times throughout the course of the week, or as requested from either myself or from senseis. It's kind of perks of membership, but we like to take care of our YouTube subscribers as well, and so that's the only reason they haven't been released the last couple of weeks. And that's a segue for me to be able to say, if you'd like to be more communicative with us and have some influence on what gets released, or often we'll poll our Twitter followers to see if there's a particular pair that you guys have an interest in. But that retweet is something that we ask for just to get a little more exposure. So if you'd like to contribute to the idea that these are going to get released on Fridays, it'll be tied to that retweet count. So you can just follow us on Twitter, and I think that it'll make sense here, and you'll see those posted typically on Friday. So with that said, let's take a look here. Now, there's some complexity here. I'm going to do this two ways. I'm going to show you the detailed analysis. Now, I know you can't see it yet. I'm going to give you the hyper analyzed right down to the 15-minute, and then I'm going to give you the broad stroke simple. Unfortunately, they both imply the same thing, and that is that while there is one caveat here, everything that's happening here is implying lower prices. So if we think back to what we're seeing here from our low at 3,200, it's not unreasonable to think that we've completed the impulse off the low. So that being the case, just standard ops here, where I've got a different template on this. Where we'd be looking for that is somewhere between, if we're going to stay with traditional Elliott Wave analysis, we'd be anticipating the probability zone for the second would be here between the 50 and the 618. That doesn't mean that it can't happen. As note here, the first retracement went to the 38. But we've got some things happening in the backdrop. I mean, there's a reasonable case to be made that this needs to come down here and test some of that. So you just look here, right? This would be a logical place where we built the base before we went parabolic. So to come back here and test this, that would be in sync with all of this that we spent so long before the drop. We get back here to test this from above. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, while there are certainly bears that will be predicting we're going to break these lows, I do not think that's what's happening here. But I do think right now the path of least resistance is lower, and I'll take you through that here. So as it's labeled here, one is in. We're seeking the second here. Now there's a little bit of complexity here. So I'm going to go to the 30-minute here, and we'll break into this and see if we can make some sense of it. Now, there is the one section that's influencing this count more than anything is right here, this section here. So this, as to how you interpret this is going to influence the way you count this. So this right here, as I see that, is an ABC. And I say that very much being influenced by how it subdivides. So it would be so much more convenient to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That would just make this much easier to count. But I just don't think that's what we get. So off of the high up here, right, which we know, right, I've shown that several times, was 65 to the tick. In fact, you can see my alert that was here. If we were going to break that, right, that's 65 from the all-time high, right? We don't break it, we tag it, and now we go into this mess. So coming off of that, the first rip down, that's just the free fall that went where we went just right, no support. We stall, but look, then we get a three-wave retrace, right? There's a little ABC in there. So we get the ABC into the B, so it's just typical B wave here. Remember a B, or it's always a push to try and get to those highs. It fails, and then it rolls over. So the AB, on the assumption that that one is correctly identified, per that subdivision, that's an ABC. That completes down here. The 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So per just using your typical fib relationships that you'd anticipate, we go right into it, literally get just far enough into the high probability zone for the 3, 1618 to the 175. The wick goes in, 3 waves out for the 4, we don't overlap the 1, and we finish with a clear impulse. That's an ABC as far as I'm concerned. And note here, look where we tagged them. Look where the 5 is. 2618 to the tick. Right? Just, I don't, feel free to take the other side of that. But as far as I'm concerned, that's an ABC that completes something here. Now, if this had been ABC, we completed and we went off to an impulse, oh, well, this would have been easy. All right, ABC, down we go. Oh, but that's not what we get. Coming off of this, there's a very clear 3. So if this ABC completes, process of elimination based on what has now followed, that would imply that we've got a W here. The ABC is the X, and now we're looking for another ABC to give us the Y. Now, this is not ideal, right? I recognize that. But the A, the B, and then I've got my impulse here to give me the C of the Y. So this is complete. I've completed a WXY here, right? So wouldn't it be just beautiful if we just went off, right, into an impulse? But that's not what we get. What we get is another, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into an A, B, C into a B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got clear, right? So I can just mark them here. So where are the impulses? Impulse. Here's the other one. Here's where it's clear. Impulse. This is actually clear. I don't have it labeled. I should. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the super duper small one. Let's put that in. We'll put that in white so you can see it. Okay, so there's the, come here. There's the 5 of the A. So here are my impulses, right? So often this is a good exercise. Just where do I see the 5s? Okay, 5, 3, 5. Well, in this case, it's an ABC. Pardon me. So 5, ABC, AB, there's my 5. Well, there I got clear 5 here, clear 3 here. There's my 5. So I'm just kind of, just process of elimination, ABC into an X. Now, how would that relate to the pivot? So from my high to my low, what do we do? 7, 8, 6. Works. Now, additionally, this was, I think it's from here, right? This was perfectly technical. Here, I've got the whole thing on here. So let me get this one off. Is that the one I want? Yeah, that's so here's our oops, grab the wrong one. Here's our algo, right, to the tick. Right, so from the swing high, we get, so the ABC completes, we get between the 50 and the 618, algo target to the tick. Now we go up here, we get the 786. Now we come, darn it, I'm so sorry. And now we finish this. Okay, so let me get these off of here. So trying to put the whole correction together. So I've got a perfectly technical pivot here, perfectly technical. Now, what do we see here? This is a pattern we know that they like, right? We know the algorithms like this alternating series of pivots, that ABC, if you will, literally an ABC in this case. We know they like that pattern. They respond there. What do we get? What do we run into? Why do we stop here? From the low. Why do we stop there? Right? Is it right? Not the 618. It goes just far enough to get into the golden zone. So we have a perfectly technical pivot here from this ABC, nails the target. ABC, up we go. Now we come down, boom, A stops right at the golden zone. Right? You know what? We don't have to wonder. We know what happened there. Right? That's just software kicks in to be a buyer there. They've got this as a target. Now, so per the count, you'd look at that and go, well, how is it, if that's going to be the B, could that work? Well, in actual fact, it could. We could have an expanded B wave, but that's not what I'm anticipating to happen, because remember, there's always an algo fight. There's always an algo on the other side, right? Because they don't give a shit. They're just they just do the same thing over and over, because sooner or later, one of these guys, right? It could be the same. We don't know. We don't know who's behind it. You're never going to know who's behind it. One of these guys wins. Right, one of these guys is going to get to target. Okay, if this one wins it, well, we're back here reconsidering this count. But the count that this series of swings would imply is that this is where we're headed. We're heading deeper down here. So if this is the A wave going in, if this starts to go up and we break here, then the benefit there is that, if you're a bull here, you're hoping that's not the evolution of this in terms of how this resolves. You lose the sell side algo. So this algo now has the advantage. Now this could maybe a different way we could count this that would still imply lower prices. But this is so maybe, well, we'll get to that in a second here. But the reason I think that's less likely is because I've got this move coming down here. This will be the tell. What happens here? Now note, it will also be the center line of this channel that's framing the market as we sit here. So what I'm anticipating is that we're going to come up here, do a little ABC into this. This will be critical support here. Do we have anything else? Yeah. Just looking if there's any other structure here that really would be significant to us. I don't think so. So as we come up here, now this is going to set up a potential sell. But understand, you're rolling dice here because you're just between two golden zones. So who wins? How would you know? Well, if you're sitting in front of the machine and you're reading order flow, I mean, there's a way to trade this, but my point is why? Why try and pick that turn? The risk is too high. What I want to see is more resolution here so I know where the hell I am. Because right now I got 3 followed by 3. Now, yeah, we've gone through all the subdivision, but if you look at just the broader structure of it, which I'm going to get to in a second, this is implying lower prices. 3, well, even if we just simplify it, which we'll get to in a second, 3, looking for the 5. Now, you work through all the nuance of the Elliott count here, and as far as I'm concerned, it's WX, YX, and we need an ABC to finish this. So I'm looking for the B to come in here, somewhere in this zone. Now B can go high, but this is the prime zone. So now I am not advocating being a seller here. I will not be a seller there. But if we come down here, boy, I'm getting interested down here because now the whole thing has resolved for me in a way that I can understand where we are and I can put together a trade with good probabilities that's technically valid based on the way I'm reading the market. That would also, as I come back out here, can we do it in the 4? Maybe we can do it in the 4. Yeah, we can. All right, so let's think about where we're looking for this to go. So from the low to the high, right? The prime zone is right, as we started, right down here. Now, if we come down and get there here, I'd rather it take a little bit longer because the symmetry is not great here. Right, as we went through a lot of this with the members on some internal videos that we did. See the symmetry here for this to be the 2 way over here, makes you suspect of it. It doesn't look like the symmetry would support the idea that we'd have this entire, so this is from December through June, that we'd correct this in 30 days, that this 6-month correction is going to be corrected in 30 days. Maybe, right? Maybe Bitcoin's the anomaly, right? So it's so strong, but the symmetry would be a little suspect if it's going to just rip down here and we're going to go into the 2 here. I'd rather see this take a little more time. But that's just looking at it, anticipating the symmetry. If we come back to really analyzing the subdivision, it's going to be a function of the volatility. So let's go back to that 30-minute here and look at this. So if this is going to come AB, and this is going to be significant, if we come up here and we hold this golden zone and we start heading lower, well, the anticipation is so perhaps the A is going in now. We come up for the B somewhere in this zone, and we're going to head down, and we're going to do it in a 5. Now, how long does it take? Well, so we can use a couple of things to try and help that. So here's our 50 down here. That's our 1618. So see, that's tied to this. Right, so if this is going to come AB, well, a couple things we can do. If it's going to go golden zone, here, let's put that back on there. So from this, right, as we stay, we've got 2 potential golden corners. Right, one that's already in play, right? So this one is already in play, right? So you look there and you go, hey, Sam, so you tell me that every time I see a golden quarter pocket, I've got 80% probability of making the median line. So look at that right there. Oh, how nice. Well, absolutely. But the caveat always is if this corner holds, i.e. corner pocket, if that holds, 80% probability of making the median line, but it could make it right here. I mean, it could make it tomorrow or longer, or we don't know when it's going to hit. We just know that 80% stays active until it's hit, right? Could hit it up here. But as putting it together per the count as it sits now, if we're going to come up here and get median line, right, something like that, where a B, right, between anywhere from the 50 to 786, that would set that up rather nicely here. Right, now we're heading down. Now we got the A, we got the B, we're technical. Maybe we're in that zone. Maybe we get here into this between the golden zone and the 786, we tag the median line, down we go. It's just a potential roadmap that is supported by the subdivision here. That doesn't mean that this is inevitable. It just means that that's a potential bank shot just sitting there waiting to happen. Now, of course, if we come up here to this golden corner, we've got the exact same thing happening on the other side. Right? This is why this has all of a sudden gotten a little tricky. So we have this going at the same time. Same probabilities here. If this pivot, if this pivot holds, 80% probability of making the median line. Could make it here, 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 here. We don't know when. So you've got very mixed signals here. So my suggestion is right now, if you're not already long or short, I don't think there's enough here to support. I'd be very reluctant to be buying here on Friday going into the weekend based on this chart pattern. Now, if we break, let's just for the sake of possibility here, let's strip this bare. So I think that you get the sense of what I think we're likely doing here. I think this is the B. We're going down. We're seeking the C of what is a relatively complex correction to get us down here to the 2. Let's just put it over here. All of this would come up, and this is potentially our 2 over here. All right. So potentially the WXYXZ puts us down here between the 50 and the 618. The 2 completes, and off we go into the 3. All right, then we're off to certainly challenge these highs. That's my primary count. But just 17 here. Let's just do this real quickly. So all I'm going to do is and I do this often, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. What's the simplest thing that I can identify here? Right? I know I've got a technical pivot up here. I know that's 65 to the tick. I know coming off of the low, right? My low down. Oh, shit, can I do it here? Let's go back to the 4 hour. All right, if I want to just simplify, right, sometimes the Elliott wave can create paralysis of analysis. The simplest thing I can see here, if I just bare bones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get that degree up. All right, that's just, it's not hard to spot that. Okay, we're looking for a corrective wave now to bring us back down to 50% of that. Well, of course, the easiest thing to see here is that, 3, 3, now I'm looking for 5. So can I get just a straight zigzag out of that? Well, yeah. Yeah, and this, as I suggested when we started, I don't know that it's particularly more advantageous to be down at the 15-minute working through that subdivision unless you're kind of an Elliott junkie like I am, to where I'm always, can I make that puzzle piece fit? Now, if you like that, you're the shit. You may be down at the 5-minute. But here, if you want to simplify it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. 3, 3. All right, we know what's likely to follow. So coming out of that, if that's just going to be my A, B, C, and we're going to get, well, potentially, so what's the 335 implies that we'd have a flat. Now, you don't want that to go too far. So if we think about the typical range here for a flat would be between the 100 and the 272, but that would work, right? So if we're going to get the flat, here, let me pull this over a little bit. All right, 3, 3, and we're going to come down to the 5, and I'll just put it in that zone. And this is the simpler version. It gets you would have saved you 20 minutes, so it gets you to the same conclusion. If we're going to look from the low, and we're looking for a 50, right? If this is going to be a flat from the 100 to the 1272, that's your target for a flat. And look how that lines up here with all of this. All right, with all of this action here, the potential 50 to the 618, the prior structure before we launch. Simpler. And we could do the same thing here. We can, right, always, if you've got 3 pivots, maybe it's going to take longer. Maybe we have to go to the shift. Well, so you guys know a channel and a modified shift are the same thing, right? Just I've shown this many times. It's exactly the same thing. So maybe we come to some, so in the simpler version, that would imply that we've just come down, tagged the median line. Maybe there's a push up here. Remember, we just hit golden zone here. We push up, down for the three, so maybe 3, 4, 5. And before we go, I mean, I'm just free drawing, right? If we're going to hold the 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Now we have the simplest possible correction, right? Just a 3, well, I just zigzag is the simplest, but 3, 3, 5. I go right to the 1, 2, 7, 2. It could be the 100. Perhaps there's a front run here at the 100. Although this is going to be a function of what the subdivision, what this structure looks like coming down. Right? Nothing says we have to do it like that. We could do something like this, and now we're at the 50 here. So where we hit the 100, that all just as technically viable and valid coming down something like that. So the bottom line is right now, right, for me as an uber bull, I'm not buying any there. I'm not adding there because even whether you go through the detailed subdivision down at the 15-minute or you just keep it simple in the big picture and go, that sure looks like a flat correction that's setting up. So for those of you that we're not buyers along the way here, as I will often tell you, don't feel like you missed the whole thing. Yeah, you missed a lot. But the fact that we're coming back to well, we'll get here 8,500. Now I don't know that we're going to 8,500, but this chart pattern would imply it. So if you missed the parabolic move right here, because there was a lot of there was shit. I mean, members, senseis, we were a lot on my team that thought that this was the pivot and we were going back down, that we had just done an ABC. All right, so if you missed the parabolic run up here because you were not a bull on that, and as I will often say, odds are there likely be some sort of a retrace here to give you an opportunity to get into the second. Now again, I cannot promise you this, right? Of course I can't. Right? This could just, over the weekend we come up, we're blown through those highs. Certainly, anything can happen, but this is all about just probabilities. What is most probable based on what we see here? There's some fuel for thought for the weekend. All right, guys, there you go. All right, that's about as kind of the detailed and then the simplified version for you. All right, so hopefully that you guys will follow us on Twitter, so these will get released regularly on Fridays. I'm happy to do it. We just ask for a little bit of a favor in return. All right, guys. All right, there you go. Have a great weekend. It'll be interesting to see how we look on Monday. All right, talk to y'all later.